All right, so we just got back from the Phillies game. We had to cool off because it's a hot day. Went to Frenchys over there at the ballpark, which is sick. If you've never been there, folks, got to go check that out. We're here with Chris, one of the managers here at Rockaway. Frenchys, how you doing today, bro?
Good. How about you?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
Excellent.
Great to be here. Let's go back to square one, like day one for you. How'd you find this place? What roles have you had all the way through being a manager here?
I moved down here from St. Louis with a couple friends on a whim. One of them used to come here on vacation, so we flew into Tampa. I'd never been in the area before. We went straight from the airport. She said, we got to go to this great restaurant on the beach. And, I was hooked day one. We came, sat down. The food was out quick. Drinks were out quick. Everything was awesome. I said, man, I got to get a job there. So started waiting tables here at 22, and 19 years later, I'm the GM now. So.
Are you 19 years later? You can't be so sick of the food because the food's so good. What's your normal bite to eat here? What's your order?
Go to, gosh, it's hard to pick. The tuna stuffed avocado is really good. That's nice when you're working. It's kind of like a light protein,
Yeah.
whatever. You can't beat the grouper sandwiches. I'll still go with the grouper sandwich every now and then. And it's hard to miss on the menu. It's a big menu. We do kind of try and keep it freshened up, probably for us and the customers. So I've got a lot of nice options.
The history of this place, how far back does it go? When did it start? How did it come about?
The original Frenchies opened in 1981. It was Frenchie and his partner Pete, and it's a small one right around the corner. They wanted to open a place for the locals to go and just relax, have a cold beer. The stories you hear, it was Frenchie's pouring beers and Pete was shucking oysters or boiling shrimp for people, and it caught on. He's more about quality at a good price, not just throwing stuff out for tourists. Opened a second one in '89. This one opened in '93. This is, the biggest, baddest, only one that sits right on the beach. We've got 2 bars, live music. And then a fourth one opened on the south end of the beach. A fifth one opened in Dunedin about 10 years ago. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So this vibe, though, like, I know this time of year, obviously it's chaos, right? It's spring break for everybody in the Northeast, where you're from, the Midwest. It's freezing cold, it's miserable, but like, what's the number one draw here, right? Like, other than the beach, I think for me, the number one draw has to be like the great service. Like, I know that people say that's tongue in cheek, but no, like, not every place is service like this. Really, you have a great staff and great people, a great kitchen. Like, the combination of all of them is why we're sitting here today, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's basically, it starts on the top. Like I said, it's quality product, top to bottom, without getting the gouge. It's not like South Beach or these other places where you're paying an arm and a leg. It's just good stuff, good times. You come in, t-shirt, tank top, no shirt, no shoes, whatever.
Yeah.
Come in, have a good time, get a cold beer, grab some nice food, and enjoy the atmosphere.
Of all the people from all over the world, who's the biggest group? What's the biggest area does this pull from? Like Philly, New York, St. Louis, Chicago, or you go out west? Like, what are the most people you meet?
It depends on the time of year.
Okay.
So, you get November, December, you got your snowbirds, a lot of people coming down from Canada. You get to the spring, you got here, it's Philly. You'd think you're in Philly walking around here in March. It's about 4:30. It's like the bus unloads from the ballpark, and it's Phillies everywhere. You get a lot of the New Yorkers a lot. This is a big spot, having the Rays down here, so you're going to get a lot of New York. You're going to get a lot of Boston and New England.
Yep.
You get we got the Blue Jays over in Dunedin, so there's your Canadian crowd.
Yeah.
So, but anytime, you can tell who's in town to play the Bucks, watching the hats and shirts the weekend before.
Yeah.
So.
You guys have a bus between here and the ballpark?
No.
Oh, I thought you said
no, it just feels like
I was
it.
like,
yeah.
Because Chickies and Pete's in Philly, another great bar.
Yep.
They have a crab bus that goes between all the ballparks. So we park at Chickies, get some food, and then go over. There's been some awesome sporting events here, like the impact on just like the Bucks success and the Lightning success and how that's impacted the bar here.
Yeah, it's great for the area, obviously. I think I've been down here about 20 years, and when I moved down, it felt like it was more transplants down here. So everybody had their home teams they were supporting, and now there's a lot more people that are now raising families here, and you've got the teams that are doing well, so you've got a lot more of a local fan base, whereas before it felt like we were always, the underdogs, whatever you want to call it, the minority at the ballpark. So it's nice having some quality teams winning championships. We had a nice run there for a few years where it was like every other, you turn around, somebody's winning something. So
yeah, no question. All right, so take me into this drinking challenge where you hit all these bars. It's pretty cool. I talked to some people at the Phillies ballpark today. They're like, Yeah, we've hit them all. Like we can't. It's been so much fun. Like,
Yeah.
talk to me about that.
So we've got a Frenchie's cocktail challenge. We've got 4 locations here on Clearwater Beach. They're all walkable. So we have a passport, and you go to each one. You get their signature cocktail. You get a stamp on the passport. Once you complete the passport, you don't have to do it in a day. Once you complete the passport, you go to our gift shop and you get a shirt. You can if you want to. Most people do. But you can go get a T-shirt, commemorative T-shirt. It changes every year. They usually have a fun design on it. It's kind of a rite of passage or something for a lot of people. They wear them with pride over the years. And it's a nice way to see a little bit. Every Frenchie's has something different to offer. We're all so close. You kind of got to have something to draw you in at each one. So it's a good time. I got some friends in town. We did it over the weekend, and it was a nice way to play tourist. It's a different perspective than when I'm coming down here to work every day.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time in Key West, right? And it's so tourism driven, just like here is. So you get to know locals there and people there. It's been a blast doing all that stuff. Like on a random Tuesday when you think you're not going out, you think you're not boozing, you're trying to be healthy from whatever the weekend before, and then all of a sudden you find yourself doing some bar crawl around town.
Yeah.
All right, so the future here. I always ask that question, and some places, hey, we're going to stay the same. Some places, hey, we're going to stay different. Pat Croce was like, the future? No, it's all about the moment. It's all about this. But you guys expanded out here.
Yeah.
The menu, I bet it's not changing. The food, the drinks is not changing. The culture is not changing. But what's the future look like at Frenchie's Rockaway?
Who knows? I mean, we kind of just roll with the punches, adapt. The seating out here on the sand was a product of COVID. It was like, hey, we got to spread these tables out. Threw some tables out there. Hey, these people love this. This is great. The servers, not so much. So we put beach mats out there. We put shades. We put, some speakers, and we tried to make it a little more comfortable. And it's a unique experience, And how often do you sit with your toes in the sand being served? So that's just kind of how we do things, I think, around here. The menu updates, if we find something cool, we throw it on, give it a shot. We do monthly specials and just kind of go, see what happens.
Why the grouper sandwich? I've had it here a bunch. It's delicious. How did that take off to kind of the allure it is now? Because you talk to people about Frenchie's, like, oh, the grouper sandwich. Like, so how did it grow to what it is now?
There's a lot of speculation on that. Everybody kind of credits Frenchie's to coming up with the grouper sandwich. Okay. He says he found it somewhere and just kind of made his own tweaks and improvements. I would say that we probably put it on the map, but it just works well. You can do it a million different ways. You've got the original is a beer battered. They only serve that at a couple of the locations. It's a little more labor intensive. It's killer. Here we have a Rockaway fried. We've got grilled, Cajun, Caribbean jerk, buffalo. We got a Reuben, which you wouldn't think fish on a Reuben sandwich. It's killer.
It's killer.
So you got a few different ways. It's a very versatile thing. You got fish tacos. We got dinners. We got anything you can think of. Egg rolls. We got grouper egg rolls.
I love it. That sounds all amazing. My mouth's watering. I can't wait to dive in here, get a beer, sit at the bar with your awesome bartenders. All right, before I do though, I want our fans to experience and have a feel of this place through some amazing stories that you've seen, some wild stuff, whether you were serving behind the bar. Like, what are some of your favorite moments and some good stories, whether it's a wacky customer or it's a moment in time, a big sporting event, or some stuff you've seen out here on the beach, like something where or a couple stories that you're like, this was a nutty day at Rockaway in Clearwater.
All right. One that comes to mind right off the rip, they do I don't know what they call it now. It used to be called the Outback Bowl. It changes names, but they do it at Raymond James Stadium. And one year, I want to say the Iowa Hawkeyes were in it, and I think we had like the whole cheer squad, dance squad, whatever. The main middle part of the dining room, the main thoroughfare. It was later in the evening. We were slowing down. They pushed all the tables out and did this huge dance routine, like out of nowhere in the middle of the dining room. That was pretty cool. The governor's, he and his wife had their first date at Frenchie's. I could barely spit that out.
Yeah.
The governor and his wife had their first date at Frenchie's. He pops in here every now and then. He actually sat at this table and bet the governor of Missouri a Frenchie's dinner versus maybe a barbecue dinner when the Bucks were playing the Chiefs in the playoffs. Done an impromptu press conference out on the deck. That was pretty wild.
Yeah.
We had, when the All-Star game was here, I want to say it was 2018, they actually helicoptered the Stanley Cup down to the beach. We were all hanging out over there at a nearby bar, and a helicopter lands in a park over there, pulled the Stanley Cup off, transported it down to the Pier 60 for a beach day for the NHL. That
Stanley
was pretty
Cup,
wild.
that's the big one. Like,
that's the big one.
That's it, man. And are you a Blues fan?
A little bit.
More Lightning now,
More
man.
Lightning.
They're so fun to watch. I can't wait to go to the game tonight. We're going to see them play the Rangers. Like, I can't wait. I'm bummed, probably Rempe's probably suspended, but yeah, no, it's awesome, man.
Should be good. They're a fun team to watch. It's a great arena, great crowd.
Did any of those guys ever get over here, like Cooper, all them? I know John Cooper's pretty active in this area.
Cooper, yeah, he's been in here before. We've actually got Kevin Cash quite a few times. We get players here and there. Martin St. Louis I've seen in here in the past. Andrew Chuck we've seen a few times around here.
Any other celebrities or big name people you're like, oh shit, that's so-and-so?
Yeah, you'll get them here and there. You'll turn around and go, hey, is that? Oh yeah, it is. Or we get Hulk Hogan. Obviously, he's got a place around the corner. He lives down the beach. He'll be in here every now and then. And we'll get some Phillies players. We'll get Bucks players. It's pretty neat. They kind of come, sneak in, hang out, and sometimes go unnoticed, sometimes not. I remember I was waiting on the Jonas Brothers one time, and I had to kind of fight the hosts and some of the other servers off, leave them alone, let them eat. But usually we try and make it a rule where you kind of just let people come in, have a good time, don't bother them too much.
They'll be back if you do that.
Exactly.
Well, you didn't really realize it, but you had very, very famous Tampa Bay Viper players in here as the league was folding. I most famously would tell the guys, my boys that would listen to me, that believed in me, after I took them to some bars around Tampa, because I went to the University of Florida, I'm like, guys, here's where we're going. We're going to Hatteras. We're going to American Social. We're going to Soho. We're going to hit these bars. So they're like, man, you know your way around here. I'm like, I've been here a couple times, did Gasparilla in college.
Yep.
So then I'm like, hey, listen, you got to really believe me. It's a leap of faith here. This is a big time leap of faith. I need you to get in an Uber from Plant City, where the Vipers put us up, and we're going to Uber to Frenchys. Rockaway on the beach. Like, are you serious? I'm like, trust me. So we would get a styrofoam cooler at Publix, get a big Italian hoagie, sit on the beach, drink beer, come here, have a great time, and we would pack it. Like 2 different Ubers we'd come here with, and loved it. The guys loved it, had a blast. We'd Uber back at night on a day off or a couple days off in a row, and you guys were more than hospitable. And we were fending all the fans off because Tampa Bay Vipers were very famous with our 1-4 record.
Didn't have enough security that day, but we're going to work on that.
More, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
A lot of hurricanes have come through here over the years. There's been some big ones, some devastating ones. So sad. How's this place withstand some of the hurricanes? Any wild stories from those?
We've been super, super lucky. We've been very fortunate. Yeah. So I've done a few interviews with the Weather Channel on the deck here while we were boarding up, and that makes it feel pretty intense. And
when
we've
they're there, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Jim Cantori comes to town, shit's going down.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we've been fortunate. So
there's a buddy of yours that we talked about off air that some connection to Germany, and you end up going to a Bucks game over there this year and had a blast. We're going to try to get him on the show here a little later, but tell me about this intro, and now he's hanging out back just by happenstance.
So basically, my last name is very German. It's very difficult for any Americans or anybody else to read and pronounce or hear and spell.
Yeah.
So when I was bartending here about 15 years ago, I had a couple come in. They would come in fairly regularly, a couple times a year, and I asked where they were from. They said Germany. I said, pronounce that last name. They said, oh, Tiemeyer. I said, okay, you passed the test. Over the years, we became friends. Turns out he had done his, I believe, like senior year of high school at Countryside High, late 80s. He was an exchange student. Stayed in touch with his host family down here. They live on Clearwater Beach, his host parents. He and his wife come twice a year. They actually bought a condo a few years back. We became very close friends. So the Bucks were playing in Munich a year before last. I went out there, went to the game. I'm a big Colts fan originally from Indianapolis. They played in Frankfurt where they live this year. We went out, had a blast, and they're in town visiting like they usually do during the spring. So might have to get him and pick his ear a little bit.
I love it. We got to get him on. Listen, I appreciate you coming on, man. This has been awesome.
Absolutely.
I love this place. We love this place. Everybody always talks about this place, especially in Philly. We're heading to Clearwater, and we're going to Frenchys.
Yep.
And we're here today. I'm going to have a couple beers, of course. I'm going to have the grouper sandwich. I'm not in lean and mean right now, but I need to probably get that avocado tuna situation.
It's good stuff.
But again, appreciate you coming on, and
Got it.
thanks for your time.
Got it. Cool.